understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
All right. What is it? Sunday night? Must be Sunday night. Radio Baloney live on Sunday night. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing? Looks like we got Izzy and Trudeau Survivor in the chat already. Good to see you guys. All right. Let's go through the menu. We don't have a ton going on tonight. I don't think it'll be a long one tonight. It's the last, it's actually the last stream of the month. So we'll make it fun, but it's not going to be that long. We've got some Doge stuff here. Here's Elon Musk talking about Doge, and he's saying that he's reflecting on what Doge taught him. He said it was like a very interesting side quest, I bet. We'll hear about that. Here's Pierre Poilievre. He did the parliamentary press gallery dinner. So this is, you make jokes, you show up, you make jokes, you make fun of yourself, your opponents, all of that. They had an impersonator from this hour, has 22 minutes, come on and pretend to, impersonate Pierre Poilievre. I'll let you guys tell me what you think of this. We'll watch it. More radical Islam. In the States. Another Afghan apparently wanting to, well, I guess not liking his adopted country very much for some reason. Let's see. Biden Autopen. Trump canceling. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden. Now, there's going to be like a million legal challenges to this. We'll take a look at that. Trump really has a point, right? Like nobody apparently knows, like who actually authorized any of these executive orders. I mean, nobody really knows. Clearly, Biden wasn't all there. This is it's a serious question and a very valid question. But we'll get into that. We'll take a look at the latest Canadian polling. We are going to take a look at woke mind virus. Elon Musk posted this, and we're going to take a look at the woke mind virus in the media. And you can see right around here, at around 20, it's really right after Occupy Wall Street. For some reason, these terms like racism, race, sexism, sexist, phobia, blah, 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 all of that just went through the roof. All of a sudden, in terms of mentions, how often these words were used, it just all of a sudden went through the roof. It's almost as if wokeness was like a top-down thing and not grassroots. Almost like some sort of social, I don't know, what would you call it? Some sort of a propaganda, social conditioning, perhaps. I don't know. EU, let's see. Managerial class libs, the rise of right-wing populism is one of the greatest mysteries of the present age. Well, they're very, very upset in Germany about the AfD, which is the anti-infinite immigration party there. And they just can't seem to figure out why people would support this. Why would people support the party that's against infinite immigration? It's crazy. We'll get into that a little bit. And actually, there's something absolutely bonkers in the UK. About 2010 in English. Oh, hold on a second. So this guy here in the UK, British police arrest man for posting picture of himself shooting gun while on holiday in America. We'll take a look at that. Just police state, UK police state, airstrip one. You know the story. Danielle Smith is made an announcement on healthcare in Alberta. It's totally pragmatic and reasonable. And of course, the left will lose their minds because it's Danielle Smith. Then we have the last tab of the evening, which is a bunch of stuff you guys sent. I think there's a couple of things I picked out in here, but a bunch of stuff you guys sent. Not all of these we can even watch tonight, actually. Some of them will have to be saved for the premium stream tomorrow night. All right, and for anybody on YouTube watching, please subscribe to the new channel there. I've split the channel into two, the original channel into two. This one, you get live streams, Canadian news, Radio Baloney news will be all the clips of the U.S. news, world news, woke mind virus, meme reviews, all of that stuff on Radio Baloney News. Please subscribe. The gatekeepers don't want you to, so just do it to make them unhappy. How about that? Hold on. Hold on 1 second, people. All right. What's going on in the chat? Let's see. So, as everybody knows, we're streaming on YouTube, on Rumble, we're streaming on X, and on Locals as well. And when you like the stream, of course, any like at any point, you get good karma. But when you're one of the first ones to do it, you get extra. So let's find out who gets the extra good karma tonight. Let's see. Izzy, how you doing, Izzy? Like number 2. Well, let's see. This is a quintuple good karma night for the first one. So second one would be quadruple good karma for you, my friend. Very nice. Trudeau survivor. And, after surviving Trudeau, which was very difficult, he really deserves the 5 good karmas. That good karma times 5 that he's getting tonight. Good for you, man. Good for you. You earned that. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, I ordered a $400 flashlight on AliExpress that has a range of 2.9 kilometers. We're back on the flashlights again. I thought we'd gotten away from the flashlights, but we're back on the flashlights in the chat again. Now I get to wait and see if it actually arrives and is not a cheap knockoff. Let's see. Fleedermay, am I saying that correctly? How you doing? Says, let us know if the flashlight does what they advertise. Trudeau Survivor says, for sure, I'll take it out to the shore, and see if it reaches the freighter ships. Well, very good. Very good. Let us know. I want to know as well. Hold on one second. All right. I just had to shout at my dog because he's barking. All right. I'll just pet him while we're doing the show. Here he is. All right. Yeah, so there was a whole flashlight thing that happened on we went down the flashlight, like this super high power flashlight rabbit hole on one of the streams, and apparently we're still talking about it. So okay, I'm excited to find out. As well. All right. What are we doing? I don't know. Let's while we wait for everybody else to show up, because we're still pretty early on in here, and it's and to everybody down in the States, happy Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you had a great time. So it might be quiet tonight, actually, because people are recovering from that and maybe traveling and stuff. Let's take a look, Fox Live now. Just randomly, let's just see what they're talking about.
And I think they do think that there could be some breakthroughs in Moscow starting just in a few hours here. But we should caution that we've been here before, right? I mean, they have been bullish before and sort of not had a lot to show for it. So that's why I say that rather than sort of the final.
All right. It sounds like they are. Could you guys hear me before? Did I have the sound off for the whole thing? I don't know what's going on. All right, listen. They were just talking about the potential, again, the next round of trying to get a peace deal, some sort of negotiated settlement between Russia and Ukraine. And I just don't see any of that happen. Russia has no reason to compromise on anything. And Ukraine will not accept anything that the Russians would accept. I just don't see. I mean, I think at this point they probably know. I think it's just for show at this point. It's gone way too far. The time for a deal would have been, late 2022, maybe early 2023, but nah, I think it's over now. All right. What's going on? AliExpress. So that's what it was? AliExpress. Okay, it looked like some sort of I don't know what the hell you wrote there, my friend. AliExpress. I thought it was like AliExpress. AliExpress. Okay, well, I guess I'm a dum-dum. Flashlight defense against street dog. Well, that's I'd never considered that. All right, let's just do it. It's a slow night. It's a slow night. There's probably a bunch of people still recovering from their turkey. Hold on. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Well, this is what everybody wanted, right? Night Core tactical modes, search and strobe against dog attacks. This is what everybody wanted. This is why everybody showed up. You know, I think those are all friendly dogs, so we're going to attack him anyway. He's just shining lights at them, trying to give them epileptic seizures. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that would be a thing maybe that would work. I don't know. I have no idea. But now we know something new, or we don't. I don't know.
Details, which I know afterwards, and more transparency. And of course, you know, what Venezuela says about this is they call it colonialism, right? They're essentially saying that the U.S. is trying to basically threaten their sovereignty, and they are already seeing it as war, even though we haven't seen, you know, strikes on land quite yet.
As far as we're aware, are the Trump and Maduro camps talking with one another?
All right. So where are you guys on this, on this Venezuela thing? Right? Are they like planning to support like a coup or something? Do you think they'd actually send troops on the ground to like invade Venezuela? I don't, that would not be very popular with the MAGA crowd. That's for sure. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What's going on? I mean, apparently there's something going on. Are they just there again as support for a coup? Like, what do you think's happening here? Let's watch a little bit more of this while you guys reply.
You know, not publicly, not directly. There are, you know, I've heard about back channel discussions, but you know, the Trump administration for months and months has been very careful to not seek to legitimize the Maduro administration, right? The Maduro regime, they call it. They really don't sort of recognize Maduro as a legitimate leader of Venezuela. And, you know, even though we've had negotiations involving different members of the administration, they've been very careful to sort of say, like, you know, these are negotiations that needed to happen, but we don't sort of see Venezuela as legitimate. The government of Venezuela is a legitimate government, and Maduro is a legitimate leader. So, you know, I do think those kinds of discussions continue to go on, and we could see, you know, some sort of breakthrough that might de-escalate attacks before they happen on land. But I do think that, as we've seen with several strikes on the sea, regardless of the questions raised in Congress, like, this is an administration that is not afraid to turn to military action to sort of, you know, ramp up the pressure against Maduro. And so I don't think anybody is in position to rule out, you know, an escalation onto land, even if there are, you know, even as negotiations sort of continue, because the president really sees this as important leverage, and he doesn't want to sort of unilaterally give that up.
3:07 in the nation's capital. Let's talk about immigration, Will. Last week's attack on National Guard troops in D.C.
All right. Well, let's yeah, I don't know. You guys got to tell me. I told you guys, put something in the chat. Tell me what you think is going to happen here. Do you think there'll be like an invasion of Venezuela? I don't see it happening. Something's going on though. All right. Well, let's just move on. Let's go through just some random stuff for a minute. All right. Because I don't got that much stuff ready to go tonight. So I wouldn't mind just going through a few random things and just see what's happening. Let's see. From Colin Wright. So this will be about wokeness in academia, I'm going to guess. Izzy says, I hope not, regarding Venezuela. Trudeau Survivor says the lamentation of Venezuelan women is imminent. Well, some people are saying that. Colin Wright, this person just got a master's degree from University of Toronto for a thesis about misinformation, misgendering, and accusations of biological unfairness surrounding male boxer Imaid Khalif. They just want to see men beating the crap out of women. I think, is that what this whole thing, this whole kind of this whole redefinition of the word gender into an infinite series of abstractions was all about? It's just some weirdos just wanted to see men beating the crap out of women in boxing and Olympic boxing. Is that what was that the main inspiration for all this stuff? They're just not letting this go. It's a man. All right. Everybody's already said, okay, it was a dude. All right. Shouldn't have been in there. Shouldn't have been able to go in and beat the crap out of female boxers. Because it's not like the fights are even close, right? This thesis frames this as transphobia, even though Poilievre is not transgender, but is a male with a DSD whose sex was incorrectly recorded female at birth. So it was a development disorder, but a male with the male advantages, as was on display for anybody who saw those fights. Let's see. Female dopers, gender fraudulences, and racialized bodies. Racialized bodies. It's one of those things from the left, this bodies thing. They talk about bodies. They stop referring to themselves as like people or humans. They start referring as bodies, like brown bodies or female bodies or racialized bodies. Extremely dehumanizing, just like, I don't know, birthing person or chest feeder. They're always seeking to dehumanize people, to just turn them into part of some faceless identity blob. That's what this language is for. That's what it achieves. The misgendering of Emain Poilievre. Nerissa Kristen Vickers. Of course, it's a lady. Or is it a lady? We don't know anymore. Nobody knows anything anymore, apparently. Master of Arts, Department of Curriculum, Teaching and Learning, Ontario Institute for Studies and Education. Wow, 2025. Let's see. Her victory was met with scrutiny. So even though it's not a her, so this whole thing is just fake. It's just based on a lie. So her whole abstract here is just based on a lie. Harassment campaign fueled by misinformation, misgendering, and accusations of biological unfairness. It clearly was, as anybody could see. As anybody could see. The rollback of content moderation on Twitter. Oh, of course, it's not censoring people enough. It's not censoring people that disagree with her. That's the cat's out of the bag on everything leftist, right? Everything leftist. Reality is gone. Accurate descriptions of reality verboten. Censorship, censor everything they don't agree with. Otherwise, it's hate or something. Denial of reality. This is the whole game. Why would anybody listen to these lunatics? So anyway, yeah, so Twitter is to blame. Twitter is to blame because rollback of content moderation, or, rollback of rollback of banning people from accurately describing reality on Twitter has amplified violent transphobia. No, it hasn't. Enabling the doxing and abuse of transgender individuals. What is... Okay, give us the examples. Give us the examples of this. The study argues that both being transgender and being misgendered are being misgendered as transgender. So wait a second. The study argues that both being transgender and being misgendered as transgender, man, this is getting confusing, provokes similar violence intensified by race and class. Okay, because intersectionality, right? Intersectionality. And this is 100% of the time, and just all of society and blah, blah, blah. Well, Western society, I guess. Everywhere else is great on this stuff, I'm assuming. Saudi Arabia is great on this stuff, right? You never hear them complain about Saudi Arabia or the Chinese Communist Party. You have to assume they're all great on this stuff. They're really on top of, celebrating, redefinitions of the word gender into an infinite series of abstractions, and not misgendering transgendered as transgendered. I don't know. I don't even know what they're complaining about anymore. They're all great. I'm sure that, Nigeria is right on top of this stuff. Using critical discourse analysis. So bullshit. So using bullshit. Using utter and total bullshit. Hold on a second. I had a great button for this. Hold on. Let's see. Using critical discourse analysis.
Oh, a bullshit artist.
The research examines online reactions to Khalif case as a study shaped by histories of transphobia and colonialism in North America and Algeria. None of this makes any sense. That's what you find with these things. They never make any sense. They're just word salads. So using critical discourse analysis, so just everything normal is wrong. That's what that means. Everything normal, reality itself is racist. So by pretending that everything is racist and colonialist, this research examines online reactions to Khalif as a case study shaped by histories of transphobia. Histories. There's a bunch of histories of it, apparently. Lots of them. Probably an infinite number. And colonialism in North America and Algeria. Colonialism in North America and Algeria. So I guess those Algerians that were tricked or forced actually by evil colonists to erroneously think that humans are a sexually reproducing species that's sexually dimorphic, male and female. So before they were brutalized into this, I guess, transphobic view. No, they had no idea. Just like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that baby is. The Algerians never knew what they did. The Algerians for all time until colonization, they'd see a baby and they'd say, is that a boy or a girl? They'd say, I don't know. I had no idea. No idea. We're not like those evil colonists. We don't, in Algeria, us Algerians, we're not transphobic. Thank you very much. These legacies, what legacies? The made up shit, the stuff you're making up. So the stuff we're making up informs the transphobic propaganda she faces. So the stuff we made up informs the other stuff that we made up in this paper. I wasn't even planning on going on a rant, but here we go. Here we go. Let's see, quite the number. So this is the same person here, Nerissa Vickers. That's who wrote this. Decolonizing gender, interrogating transphobia as colonial white supremacy. What else could it be? We all know that the worst thing in the world, the greatest threat to the world, is transphobia, right? And what causes that? Well, it can only be one thing: white people. White people, because everybody else and the rest of the planet super into it, super into trans, always has been. And if they're not now, in fact, if they're super against it, like throwing people off rooftops against it now, that's just because of white people. This is the world that they live in. The phrase gender binary is a misnomer. Ugh. How do these people, how did this happen? How did the Academy become so insane? That's just not true. Gender binary is real. It's obviously real. Everybody knows this. Everybody has always known this. Whether they said gender binary or not, everybody has known man, woman. That's it. You have exceptions which are, you have exceptions which don't disprove anything. You have developmental disorders, right? That doesn't mean there's infinite genders, or that you can be born neither gender. That it's just not true. Decolonization is the removal of a hierarchy built by racist, imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist, colonial powers. Well, what if just none of this is true? That's interesting. It's an interesting point. So what if just none of this is true? So maybe there's not a maybe the hierarchy wasn't built by, maybe it's not built and maintained by racist, imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist global powers. I just find it hard to believe if this was really what like the United States was, or Canada, or the UK, that any of this bullshit could be taught to anybody in the US or Canada or the UK. See, that's the thing. If it were really what they say it is, if Western civilization was really this, what they claim that it is, they couldn't do this. They couldn't exist. It simply would not be allowed. Yet, for some reason, there is all this wasted human potential, all this wasted money constantly being funneled into teaching just ludicrous fantasies. Of course, capitalists, don't forget, that's at the root. Of course, they hate capitalist white supremacists. Are they okay with, like, I don't know, like black capitalism? No, they're not. Are they okay with Asian capitalism? No, they're not. They just hate capitalism because this is all really about Marxism. The issue is never about the issue. It's always about the revolution. These are all fucking commies. All of them. And they give themselves away. I don't know. The gender and sex binaries are inherently colonial. And the ways they have been enforced are from the same apparatus, colonial violence. So these people live in a world where the only way that people just living, right, say like a hunter-gatherer society, the only way they could have come to the conclusion that, since humans are quite obviously a sexually reproducing, sexually dimorphic species, male women, that the only way those people on the savannah could have known that they were men and women, that there was like two, right, would have been if they were, let's say, I guess, oppressed by racist, imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist colonial powers. It's just so insanely dumb. Everybody has always known until 15 minutes ago there's men and women, and the rest is just make-believe. The rest is just make-believe. Yes, it's true that not everybody's the same. And there's variation within the genders. Look, Liberace existed, right? That doesn't disprove the gender binary. It's so insanely baffling. The only, okay, so what do you do about it? All of this stuff, so like this person here has to be defunded. So no money, so if this Miss Vickers here wants to write bizarre lunatic fantasies about colonialism and everything's racist, do it on your own dime. That's the solution. This stuff has to stop being funded. In fact, it's a tragedy for this person, because what an utter and total waste of human potential to devote your life to this garbage, which is just it's a bunch of gay race communist tripe gibberish, right? This can only speed the destruction of the civilization, which allows her to live a perfectly nice life, hating it. Like, it's a tragedy on every level, right? The money is wasted. It could have been used on to teach a new brilliant mathematician or something, right? A free education for some brilliant young mathematician or physicist or something, or engineer that would have, invented something that would improve the human condition all over the world. Instead, it's this. People only think that there's men and women because of racist, imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist colonial powers. It's more absurd than Monty Python. Like, Monty Python would see this and go, well, that's too much, right? That's just too silly. What an utter waste of human potential. And then indoctrinating generations of young people into this. It all has to be defunded, not a penny. This is the sort of thing that if you want to do it, if you want to tell fairy tales about non-binary or whatever, okay, you have to do it on your own dime. It has to be like a hobby that you're really, really into. Maybe they just start writing poetry about it. If there was no point in doing this, if you couldn't get any money or any benefit from doing these, maybe they just start writing poetry about it. And then, nobody would really read it after that, right? After that, you'd really have nobody reading any of this stuff and infecting weak minds. All right. So there we go, people. Well, I wasn't expecting a rant like that just on going through random stuff. It's a good thing I've been paying attention to the world. What else we got? Anything else fun? Let's go back to the chat. Hold on. How do you guys feel about rides? Let's see what's going on. Who do we got in here? La 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 la. What's going on? All right, we're back at the flashlight stuff. We had a flashlight update for those who've just joined. Izzy says the woke mind virus has a way of hollowing out the brains of its victims. Well, it's pure indoctrination, right? So it's just based on a bunch of totally baseless assertions, and you just kind of have to go along with just whatever feels left wing, whatever feels Marxist, right? And as long as you're hating your civilization and capitalism, at heart, it's all just Marxism, right? That's the one thing that they all 1000% agree on, is that they hate capitalism. Trudeau Survivor says Castor Semenya, track, and Brittany Griner, WNBA, are another two. When you hear their voices, it's like, whoa, WTF. Let's see. Only Brittany Griner I don't think she dominates in the NBA. That's why I think it might actually just be a very butch lesbian. Let's see. Elf Support. How you doing, Elf Support? Says, I think Venezuela could be a lot worse than you think. It would take 1 year of buildup to have enough forces to invade all of Venezuela, since they've armed 4.5 million of their citizens. Yeah, this is why I don't think, people are talking about an invasion. I don't see that happening. I mean, maybe they're positioning to support a coup. Something like that. That would seem more plausible to me. Let's see. Judo Survivor says, the runaway brain, you are no longer needed. Well, yes, if you're in critical studies, yeah, brain is not actually a benefit. Elf Support says, it seems like our attempts to eliminate Maduro covertly have failed. There's a massive, deep underground military bunker south of Caracas, larger than anything the U.S. publicly has. Well, that's interesting to know. Elf Support says it could be a limited operation where they force their way into said bunker to see if there's nuclear warhead signatures. Bunkers block such from air. They've got 18 reinforced launch sites. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, enforcing a no-fly zone seems like something they might do. Let's see. How you doing, Rosie? I really like flashlights. I want to know if the ships respond or how well you think it works. If it ever arrives, LOL. LOL. We all want to know. Let's see. Elf Sport says, I've also heard they may instead land in the western part of Venezuela around Maracaibo, because that's where people are most against the regime. Could train local insurgency like Vietnam. Well, they're probably doing that now, right? So covertly, I'm sure they've been doing that for ages, for decades. So maybe it's something like that. No fly zone, support that, some sort of a coup attempt. I don't know. All right, I'm going to skip down to the end here. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, can't carry pepper spray in commie Canada, so a flashlight is the only option. Canada is just insane. You can get bear spray. You can use it to defend yourself against bears, I believe, still. I'm sure the NDP is trying to pass a law against that. But you can't use it against people to defend yourself, so you have to allow yourself to be murdered. Elf Sport says the North Pole is moving rapidly towards Russia. Anyways, I keep hearing about that. Well, the magnetic actual North Pole, yeah. All right. So let's go to the stuff I had planned. We're 37 minutes in already, people. I can't believe it. All right. Quickly for the YouTube people, new channel. Rumble people, don't worry. Everything's still going to the same channel. New channel. I split it. So there's a channel you're on now. Live streams Canadian stuff. Radio Baloney News is the channel for U.S. news, world news, UK, woke mind virus stuff, meme reviews. All of that is on the new channel, Radio Baloney News, featured channel on the homepage of this channel. Go there, subscribe. The gatekeepers will be so angry with you. That's why it's fun. All right, let's go. What's going on here? Elon Musk reposted this. He says, seriously, so Jason Cohen posted this. Elon Musk reflects on what Doge taught him. It was like a very interesting side quest. Well, he's obviously not happy about what he found out. And they have actually achieved quite a lot. They've saved hundreds of millions of dollars, I think billions of dollars at this point. It's just that the amounts of money are so insane. And then when the budget came out and it was still a massive, massive deficit, that's kind of when he threw in the towel and went, well, what am I even doing this for? Right? They're obviously not planning on paying off the debt. So let's take a look.
What did Doge teach you, if you learned one thing?
Well, it was like a very interesting side quest, because I just got to see like a lot of the workings of the government. There's been quite a few efficiencies. I mean, some of them are very basic efficiencies, like just adding in requirements for federal payments that any given payment must have an assigned congressional payment code and a comment field with something in it that's more than nothing. Like that trivial seeming change, my guess is probably saves $100 billion or even $200 billion a year. Because there were massive numbers of payments that were going out with no congressional payment code and with nothing in the comment field, which makes auditing the payments impossible. So if you have to say, like, why can the Defense Department or now the Department of War, why can it not pass an audit? It's because the information is not there. It doesn't have the information necessary to pass an audit does not exist is the issue. So a bunch of things Doge did were just very common sense things that would be normal for any organization that cared about financial responsibility. That's most of what was done. And it's still going on, by the way. Doge is still happening. But it turns out when you stop fraudulent and wasteful payments, the fraudsters don't confess to this. They actually start yelling all sorts of nonsense that you're stopping essential payments to needy people. Mm-hmm. But actually, you're not. We get this thing like saying, oh, you've got to send this thing for whatever, it'd be like, this is going to children in Africa. And I'm like, yeah, but then why are the wiring instructions for Deloitte and Touche in Washington, D.C.? Because that's not Africa. So can you please connect us with the recipients of this money in Africa? And then there gets silence. I'm like, okay, we just want to literally talk to the recipients. That's it. And then we're like, oh no, it turns out for some reason we can't talk to them. I'm like, well, we're not going to send the money unless we can talk to the recipients and confirm they will actually get it. And then that's sort of fraudsters necessarily will come up with a very sympathetic argument. They're not going to say, give us the money for fraud. That's not going to be what they say, obviously. They're going to try to make these sympathetic sounding arguments that are false.
They're going to start an NGO and then...
Yeah, they're going to see NGO. It's going to be like the Save the Baby Pandas NGO, which is like, who doesn't want to save the baby pandas? They're adorable. But then it turns out no pandas are being saved, okay, in this thing. It's just going to it's just corruption, essentially. And you're like, well, can you send us a picture of the panda? And like, no. Okay. Well, how do we know it's going to the pandas then? Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it seems as if it was just built for fraud, intentional fraud. And I think Elon Musk has alluded to that, just built for fraud. No, the Civil War veterans must stay on the Social Security rolls. No, the 200-year-old people, must stay on the rolls. Totally, it's so much of what happens today is so transparently corrupt or just wrong and false, but the claims are so absurd that I think it's hard for a lot of people to question it, because it's hard for a lot of people to question institutions because they just assume that there are competent people at the top who would tell the truth. So when you hear American Medical Association or your equivalent in Canada, the UK, although actually they don't listen to the UK anymore because they've switched on this. But if you're like the American Medical Association talking about how, so-called gender-affirming care for minors saves lives, right? Well, they just think, well, that's the institution. I trust them. We assume there's, competent people running it. And it just seems like too big of a lie. Right now, of course, if somebody is even remotely curious, they'll start looking up, they'll start Googling and finding out, actually, Sweden is saying different things here. They're not doing that anymore. Denmark, the same. There's the CAS review. There's the WPATH files. Wait a second. Actually, the AMA is wrong. The Endocrine Society is wrong about this, clearly, or it's all their claims are highly dubious. But it's such a big lie that most people they just believe. They just believe the institutions because it seems like it can't be possible that they would just lie, that these people would knowingly lie like that. Now, I thought we'd go down and just take a look at go through some of Doge's greatest hits. Like from April 8th, Doge found that millions of illegals were given social security numbers over the last 4 years, with 1.3 million receiving Medicaid. Millions of others received driver's licenses, registered to vote, and may have already voted insane. Biden issued nearly 4 million social security numbers to non-citizens provided just 5 months after filing asylum claims in the mail. No interview, no ID check. As a result, they can access benefits like Medicaid and get driver's licenses. And you could collect multiple ones then, right? No interview, no ID check. Well, you could collect multiple benefits for multiple people. Like, it's just built to be scammed, right? Elon Musk, they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud. And they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. So, it's funny. This is like, there are so many massive stories. Like, there's so many stories of the century. This should have been a story of the century, right? A huge story that people would still be talking about en masse, right? But there's like every week there's a new story of the fraud of the century, corruption of the century, crime of the century. It's like every single week now, and you can just go through Western civilization and seeing it all unfurl. And I think people have come to desensitize to just the insanity of it all, right? All right. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Let's go back to the chat for a second. Izzy says, there used to be trust in science, but the science has led more to pay attention. Used to be a trust in science until it became, bifurcated into a science and the science. So, but the science has led more to pay more attention. The thing is, the real expertise does exist. It's just that's not what we're offered. We're offered narrative. So, if you're watching CNN or in Canada, CBC or the BBC or whatever, they are interviewing the science, the experts who will say what the BBC or CNN or CBC have already decided what the narrative is. They only call upon people and pay people for their appearances there who will just agree, right? Everybody else is conspiracy theorists, no matter how well credentialed they are. Credentials only matter if you agree with the CBC teleprompter or the MSNBC teleprompter at this point. So that's the science. And this is a tragedy for Western civilization, by the way. The politicization of science is a tragedy because we should be, expertise does exist and it's extremely useful. And it's tragic when people just simply can't trust that the experts are actually objective anymore, that they're not just political, that it's just not an endless series of Lysenkos being paraded out for the teleprompter readers. All right. Let's see what's going on. What's next? All right. So here is Pierre Poilievre. So this is kind of the lighter side of politics in Canada. So they had the parliamentary press gallery dinner, and it's supposed to be fun. And, like here's Pierre Poilievre. He gets up, he's self-deprecating. He also makes fun of his, the press, and he makes fun of Carney. And there's an impersonator who goes up before him to make fun of him. He takes it all in very good humor. In fact, they obviously coordinated something for the end. Let's take a look.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the only person who misses Justin Trudeau more than Susan Delacourt, the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre. Hello, everyone. Yes. Yes. Hello. Yes. Hello, everybody. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Now, he's from a CBC show called This Hour is 22 Minutes, which, of course, obviously taxpayer funded. So Pierre Poilievre himself is paying for this guy to impersonate him. He actually does it. I think he does a decent Pierre Poilievre. He does actually a very funny Justin Trudeau. I would like to see him tackle Mark Carney because they've got, kids in the hall, old kids in the hall. Remember Mark McKinney doing Mark Carney, and it's just this kind of milk-warm it's kind of this milk toast version of him that's not offensive at all, and obviously is fairly favorable to Mark Carney. So I would like to, this guy goes at Poilievre with some energy. I would like to see him do Carney as well. Would he be allowed to really go after Carney? Probably not. They didn't go after Trudeau until he was like impossibly unpopular and after he was gone. So I doubt it very much. But anyway, let's take a look.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Very nice, very nice. Good evening, gentlemen and biological clocks. I am Conservative leader and star of This Hour Has 22 Minutes, Pierre Poilievre.
I'm sorry I'm late. I just came in from my riding in Bubble River. Sorry, I wrote that down weird. Baby butter crop top. It doesn't matter. I know it. I know it. Okay? I'm not really sure where I will be sitting yet. It doesn't matter. I'll just take that guy's chair. It'll be fine. I'll just take a chair. Okay, so I've written down a few things that I would like to say. Oops, sorry. That's the ballot from my last election. Yeah. I'm on here somewhere. I don't know. Man, this makes it really hard to vote. Wow.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great. It's obviously a lot of inside political baseball, Canada, but probably actually even because I think most Canadians are so out of touch with what's happening politically in the company. Even most Canadians wouldn't get these jokes, not unless you're paying attention. So yeah, I guess kind of okay. But they do something at the end here, which is the only kind of good, really kind of amusing part. So Pierre Poilievre comes out here. Let's take a look.
The CBC. Long live the CBC, everybody. Long live the CBC.
So that was the best part of his little act right there, and it only worked because of Pierre Poilievre. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says that's an awful impersonation. It's not great, is it? I've seen them do it a little bit better before. The problem is that when Mark McKinney from Kids in the Hall does Carney, and obviously they're all Liberal supporters. So Mark Carney plays the straight man to the patient. Maybe slightly befuddled Mark Carney against the wild, wacky, crazy Pierre Poilievre and Doug Ford, whom they seem to really hate a lot, which is strange because basically Doug Ford endorsed Mark Carney, who they seem to love in the last election, and he's basically a liberal anyway, Doug Ford. But so that's how the manipulation is done. The not subtle manipulation is done, even in comedy shows in Canada. I guess like in the States, it would be like SNL, right? Anyway, let's hear Pierre here.
I don't know why.
Une grande tournée d'applaudissements pour la version Timu de moi. A big round of applause for the Timu version of me, everybody. As you know, Chris Stars on This Hour has 22 minutes, which is the second funniest satire on CBC after Power in Politics. Chris is actually the most expensive comedian at the CBC, and in fact, the most expensive in the entire world if you measure on a cost per laugh basis. Now, just to be clear, to all the CBC staff who are gathered here today, don't believe what you hear. And by the way, when I speak of CBC staff, I'm not just talking about the PMO comm shop. I'm talking about all of you. I never said I was going to shut down the CBC. I said I was going to defund it, which means that we can find some creative funding methods to keep it going. Like maybe they could move their head office to a Caribbean tax haven so that Brookfield could pay for it. The company might have some spare office space above that bicycle shop in Bermuda. Or another revenue source would be for David Cochrane to start charging for the water he carries for the Liberal Party. The third way The third way is for me to donate royalties. And I'm announcing that I will do that today. Royalties for all those who copy me, imitate me, or steal my ideas. I think Mark Carney is here today. He wanted to have an impersonator of his own, but then he discovered that Mr. Burns is a cartoon. But who's ready to axe the tax?
Yeah, you can hear that there's a little bit of uncomfortable noises there. They don't even have the good graces to really just, because they know this is people are gonna see this, right? It'll be on X or wherever, YouTube. They don't even have the good grace to just, enthusiastically, have a sense of humor about themselves, right? They don't even have the good grace for that. The CBC people hate him. They hate him. Anyway, I think this is good for just normal Canadians. It's humanizing them. There's the mainstream media in Canada, just as the American media towards Trump, it just has spent an enormous amount of time and money to not humanize Pierre Poilievre. The way that remember how they got mad at who was it, Jimmy Fallon, for humanizing Trump? You're not allowed to humanize Trump. Well, it's exactly the same playbook. By the way, the mainstream media, and certainly any government-funded media across the West, they're all exactly the same. It's like it's the same teleprompter feeding all of them. They just change the names to the names of the conservatives in whatever country it is. Yeah. So Pierre Poilievre has the challenge of having to break through that to get that extra couple of percent of the vote that he needs. Changing the narrative, breaking through the narrative of him as just unbelievably, uncouth, mean. He's mean. Did you know that he's mean? Did you know you're not allowed to vote for mean people? The media tells you somebody's mean, you're not allowed to vote for them. And his tone, he's got a negative tone, and he's divisive. He's divisive. Did you know that Pierre Poilievre, it turns out, is the first divisive politician in all of history, all of human history? The first one. Nobody ever tried it before. Let's see. Steve, how you doing? Good to see you. Says, you are right. As an American, I didn't get some of the puns of the impersonator. Yeah, it's inside baseball, right? I get most Canadians wouldn't have gotten those jokes because they're just not paying any attention. I honestly, I think probably 95% of people who voted for Mark Carney just went, oh, well, CBC said he's an economist, so that's good enough for me. Steve says Pierre rocked it compared to the professional comedian. Yes, he was much better than the professional comedian. I agree. Trudeau Survivor makes a great point here, an excellent point here, super salient. He says defund the CBC, defund the CBC. Beautiful. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says Timu version of me. Yeah, that was a good one. I liked it. At least they didn't flub the high five. Izzy said Spider-Man pointing me. Oh, that's true. Let's see. What else we got? Trudeau Survivor says the audience's reaction to Pierre reminds me of when Ricky Gervais roasted the Hollywood actors. Yes, actually, that's an excellent point there. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it did remind me of something, but that I think you just put your finger on it right there. All right. We're gonna move on. Before we do, just very quickly, if you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, don't worry about it. But if you're watching on YouTube, new channel, Radio Baloney News. Go and subscribe to this immediately. All the U.S. world news, meme reviews, all that stuff is going to be on there. Make the gatekeepers cry. Radio streamer, how you doing? Good to see you. Izzy says, yeah, if they want to be partisan, they don't need taxpayer money. Exactly. You think they'd be ashamed to be so partisan, wouldn't you? I don't know. I guess they have that moral conviction of everything they believe in being total bullshit. Let's see. All right. I don't think we need to see any more of that, although I've got a few different clips here. How about this from Pierre Poilievre? Mark Carney set up a new bureaucracy to reapprove a New Brunswick mine that was already approved in 2017. This is his whole thing. This is his whole nation-building thing. Days after announcing he would fast-track it, the mine is delayed again because it can't meet what? Government conditions. Build, baby, build has become block, baby, block. They're not serious, but he cares about carbon capture. He cares about funneling money, Canadian money, into his pet projects. Federal government approves proposed New Brunswick tungsten mine from 2017. New Brunswick's Sisson mine added to Ottawa's list of nation-building projects. Let's see, 8 years. 8 years after it was approved already. One of Carney's fast-track projects, Sisson Mine, stalls after failing to meet conditions. November 25th, 2025. This is just the story. This will be the story of Canada until Canada wakes up, and maybe it never will. I don't know. Canada might just be San Francisco now. I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's move on. So, more radical Islam in the U.S. I have noticed that pretty much everywhere it goes, it tends to be radical and you get bad stuff. I mean, it's ask a European about it, I guess. More radical Islam. When will we open our eyes? This is from Captain C. Well, let's take a look. I mean, I just have to say, just a self-evident truth here. When you get, it's just, I'm not saying that all is Islamic people want to be terrorists, but I'm saying that whenever you get enough of a population, you will get terrorism. That is just true everywhere. It's just demonstrably true every single place. Let's take a look.
Well, this just in. We have a Fox News alert from Brooke Taylor. You won't believe this. DHS is confirming that an Afghan national was arrested Tuesday after posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb with an intended target of the Fort Worth area. Mohammed Dawood Al-Okazai is charged at the state level with making a terroristic threat. According to DHS, listen to this. He came to the United States as part of Operation Allies Welcome. So here you have it. This happened Tuesday. Texas Department of Public Safety. This is a second Afghan national, second one this week. Operation Allies Welcome. He had a terror plot. We know it comes the same week that deranged individual, that alleged assassin, took out two of our heroic National Guard, came here on the same program, Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we were assured time and time again by Mayorkas, by Jen Psaki, by Joe Biden himself was safe and secure. But here we have a second data point in 1 week that it was not safe. It was not secure.
The narrative from the left just seems to be, well, you're not allowed to talk about it, but if you do, I guess that's just the cost of the government doing something that nobody really wants them to do. But if you don't, you're racist or something. I don't know. All seems pretty dumb. And then you've also got this. I wonder if this contributes at all. Let's see. Eyal Yacobi, Representative Rashida Tlaib calls for Hamas supporters to mobilize and take over America. Jeez. Is this the new American dream?
Look at this rooms, motherfuckers. We ain't going anywhere. Political structures that I have to work in, that we all are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression. Real
That's just a lie, but anyway.
change doesn't come from the cowards and warmongers in Congress. It comes from the streets. It comes from all of us mobilizing and seizing the power to resist and fight back.
Seizing the power. Seizing the power. I wonder if she wants to also seize the means of production. I think she does.
Gaza is the compass in this country.
Gaza, so a terrorist organization that broke into Israel and slaughtered, over 1,000 people horribly, man, woman, child, is the compass for the United States? That doesn't sound good.
Now we're in Congress, and we're every corner of the United States. Look at this rooms, motherfucker.
Well, if these people are really lucky, she'll take over the country and use all of them as human shields after she starts a war. I don't know. Let's see. So the compass for the United States is a terrorist organization that's just delights in slaughtering innocent people, and then uses its own citizens as human shields while it hides in tunnels underneath them, which the people aren't allowed to go into. The regular people aren't allowed to go into. So that's the moral compass, I guess, for her, for the United States. That's her vision of the future for the United States. So I don't agree. I think that's a bad idea for any Western country, because these people exist also in Canada. The left is the same in every country, right? Like they really do have solidarity, right? International solidarity. They're the same in Canada. They're the same in the UK. They're the same in Germany. They're the same in Sweden. They're the same everywhere. Exactly the same everywhere. And of course, it's because they are all bound by their ultimate goal, which is communism. So what is Dr. Naomi Wolf? She just said, she posted this. She said, just finished Slaves in the Family, a magisterial history of American slavery that won the National Book Award. Turned out Muslim African slave dealers kidnapped and sold non-Muslim Africans to European slave traders and did not stop the practice of enslaving fellow Africans until the 1920s, almost a century after Britain abandoned slavery and 55 years after the U.S. ended slavery. Well, saying that Britain abandoned slavery isn't quite accurate. They abolished slavery throughout the empire at enormous cost. And they just finished paying off the debt of having done that like 15 years ago. So they don't mention, when she talks about, the United States is built on slavery, she doesn't mention any of this stuff, right? She doesn't mention any of this for some reason. She doesn't mention anything when she's talking about how great Islam is. She doesn't mention anything about the fact that Muslims enslaved far millions upon millions more Africans, and we're actually worse, much worse treatment for them than ever went over in the Atlantic slave trade. They don't mention that. In fact, the Barbary slave trade, enslaving Europeans, over 1 million Europeans were enslaved by Muslims, by the way. That didn't end until the United States ended it. The United States Navy ended it in the 1800s, in the late 1800s, I think like the 1880s. So they don't mention any of that, or that slavery was just endemic everywhere in the world since before recorded history. Don't mention any of that. These are communists who are tricking these people into destroying their own society, their lives. What few of them will ever have children, their children's lives and grandchildren's lives? Although, again, with this lot, probably not many of them. Yeah, it's all kind of maddening, isn't it? It's all just total lunacy. Brian Norton posted this. Let's see. So in the replies here, prior to and following the time of Christ, all civilizations, African, Arabic, Asian, South Asian, Southeast Asian, what would become Western Europe, and indigenous communities practiced slavery. Slavery was endemic across North America, what is now Canada and the United States, for time immemorial, before there was ever any colonization. Not to mention the fact that, obviously in Mesoamerica, It wasn't just slavery, it was mass human sacrifice. Slavery still exists. Of the nearly 50 million children, women, and men presently in bondage, the numerically significant countries include India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, North Korea, Indonesia, Turkey, a number of Middle Eastern nations, and various African nations. So Tlaib isn't going to mention anything about that. Nothing about that at all, because it doesn't get her any closer to the goal of communism in the United States, destroying the great nation of the United States of America, which is her goal, and it's all of their goals. Can you imagine just a life of being hectored by this awful, awful woman? Ugh. So what's this here? In the middle of Dearborn, Michigan, an entire crowd chants "Death to America." Rashida Tlaib, when asked, refused to condemn it. Well, of course not. She wants the United States to die, clearly.
El mal de África! El mal de África! El mal de África!
Not a great look. The mayor condemned it.
Not a great look. Saying "Death to America" in America. Not a great look. You know, I do feel in the future, Western countries that want to survive are going to have to make some difficult choices. Let's see.
The White House condemned it. But what about Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib? She reps Dearborn. Is she okay with her constituents chanting "Death to America"? Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn asked her. Watch.
Congresswoman Tlaib.
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
I do not talk to Fox News.
But do you condemn chants of "Death to America"?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
Why can't you just say whether or not you condemn people chanting "Death to America"? Why are you afraid to talk to Fox?
Fox News is not listen, using racist tropes towards my community is what Fox News is about, and I don't talk to Fox News.
Is "Death to America" racist?
Fox News.
Is chanting "Death to America" racist?
I'm talking about your guys' racist tropes. You know, you guys know exactly what you do. I know you're Islamophobic, but you guys got to go deal with it on your own self. You're not going to use me.
Just awful. Just awful. They don't hide it. They don't hide it. Like, let's listen to that again.
Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
Do not talk to Fox News.
But do you?
Ugh. Just awful. Just awful people. Awful people. But this is now the typical stance of the leftist is that, well, I won't talk to anybody who disagrees with me because they're evil. Why? Because they're evil because I made up a bunch of stuff and I misrepresented them so that I could call them evil, right? It's the whole, it's the whole punch a Nazi thing. And hey, that guy's a Nazi, so I guess it's okay to punch him. But is he really? Is he really? Or did you just say that because you wanted somebody to? That's the whole thing. And like, take a look at leftist movements throughout history. They're all incredibly violent, right? You just always end up with mass killings. Always. It always ended up being led by serial killers, mass killers. Look at the French Revolution. Soviet Union, obviously, Holodomor, decoolization. You look at, tens of millions of people dying needlessly in China. Look at North Korea. Look at the killing fields, Cambodia. It's just endless. And this is all of them. It's not surprising. She is just a perfectly appropriate face for modern leftism or leftism in the 1920s, right? Or leftism in China in the 1960s. This is them. She is them. Let's see. Radio Streamer says Rashida Tlaib equals Muslim commie who thinks they'll get her last. Well, she probably would stay on the top. Although I don't know. I mean, when they do the purges, nobody's really safe. Let's see. Actually, let's move on, actually, before we get back to the chat again. So from the White House, Trump says, I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden. So any document signed by sleepy Joe Biden with the Autopen, which was approximately 92% of them, unbelievable, 92%, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. Now, of course, this is going to be challenged like endlessly. The Autopen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. The radical left lunatics circling Biden around the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office took the presidency away from him. Well, I think this is just obviously extremely plausible, but the problem is when it goes to court, right, then they're going to have to provide, definitive evidence. That's where the trouble comes in. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden, because the people who operated the Autopen did so illegally. Joe Biden was not involved in the Autopen process, and if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. Perjury. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, again, this is going to go through like legal hell, like actually enforcing any of that, right? Look at that. He means business, though. He means business. I voted for this, he says, and the man in the Norman Rockwell painting says, police sketch of Biden Autopen. Police sketch of Biden Autopen. It looks exactly like Barack Obama. Exactly. I knew it. All right. What else do we have here? Okay. Let's take a look at some Canada polls. Actually, hold on a second. Before we get into that, let's go back here for a second. And maybe I should do an ad read just for fun. What do they got for me? Oh, a brand new one. Let's do this. Let's go. What do you give someone who already has everything? I don't know. I'd love to know, though. This is it. The last day of our Black Friday weekend. When you order Chicago's bestseller, normally $250, you can get a second bestseller package for just $80. Just $80. No, that's a deal. That's 8 pieces of tender premium Angus and USDA prime beef. My mouth is watering as I read this. Plus free shipping of $445 worth of premium steaks. But this deal ends at midnight. Get on it, people. Get on it. This is the top 2% of beef in America. You get thick filet mignons, ribeyes, boneless strips, and top sirloins, hand cut by master butchers with the kind of marbling that drizzles the second it hits the pan. Can I make a steak while I'm doing this ad? I don't know. My mouth is watering. These steaks arrive in a premium gift box, packed with dry ice, that kind of presentation that makes opening it feel like Christmas morning. I could only be so lucky. This isn't another forgettable present. This is a gift people actually remember, a dinner that feels like an experience, and those are the best kind of meals everybody knows. This is your final chance. Visit mychicagosteak.com. That's mychicagosteak.com now. Use promo code BlackFry1 at checkout. That's BLKFRI, then the number 1. BlackFry1. Double your steaks for $80, but only until tonight. It's a hell of a deal, people. And now I'm starving. What a beautiful ad. A beautifully written ad. It's about something that I love, which is steaks. And I am genuinely hungry after reading that. I hope everybody gets steaks, delicious steaks. That's how you improve the world. As he says, I think talking about Rashida Tlaib there, when you dehumanize your opponents, you can justify anything. That's right. Let's see. Radio Streamer says Trump equals last chance for Western culture to assert and renew itself for the next generation. Yes, that was the choice in 2024. Was it just going all in on managed decline and self-hatred and an acceptance of failure that everything is going to be destroyed? Everything that you care about, everything that you like is going to go. Or renewal, right? A renewed belief and confidence in Western civilization with a man who says, no, Western civilization is not bad. It's not responsible for all of the world's ills. Actually, it's responsible for the world's goods, for the good in the world. It's the height of human well-being. It's the pinnacle of human well-being, of freedom, of prosperity. And this is, you could write this across Western civilization, but really, especially North America, Canada, and the United States. Although Canada's always been a little bit behind the U.S., now it's way behind after 10 years of socialism, of far-left radicalism. And again, this is a great dichotomy, actually, if you want to see the difference, the choice that the United States had to make and why it made the right choice. Right? Voting for Kamala would have been like voting for Justin Trudeau. Really exactly the same, just the same thing. Justin Trudeau was the, lesbian version of Kamala Harris. Yeah, so right now it's unfortunate. Canada's a cautionary tale. Fortunately, the United States made the right choice. It didn't choose, self-defeatism. It decided to, again, kind of renew itself. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, I only wish they would nuke the filibuster before the midterms. Let's see. As he says, I'm assuming not available in Canada. I don't know. You'd have to check. I don't know about in Canada. Radio Streamer says 6.9 out of 10. Very well read. Stylistic choices. We're okay. Needs more copy hate. Well, it's the first read of that one. I don't know. I mean, I just thought I'd just focus on reading the ad. Beautiful, beautiful ad. Anyway, 6.9 out of 10, I believe, is the most you can get out of 10. So, thank you for that. Rosie says, my Chicago steak ad. Beautiful ad read. Very clear. Nice enthusiasm. I did not hear any commie hate, though. Only 8.0 out of 10, which is still the most you can get out of 10. So thank you very much, Rosie. I'm not reading that Trudeau Survivor. And let's see. Or that Radio Streamer. All right. And if I won't read it, it's got to be bad. Real bad. Okay, now what are we doing? Let's see. What's going on here? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait a second. There was something else here. Ron, on this Rashida Tlaib thing, I forgot to say, Ron DeSantis reposted this, and he said, what are we doing to ourselves? That's the question. That's the question. It's suicidal empathy. It's just stupidity, actually. Tlaib is just, this is somebody who will happily burn down your life, your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future, everything for Marxism. We did the Autopen. Good times. What do we got here going on here? So, polls in Canada. So we did not get the Christmas election that some people, including myself, actually was hoping for. I thought the Conservatives would do well in it. But we're looking probably more at the spring, this summer now. Though it's not guaranteed, but probably. And how is the polling going? Well, Conservatives are pretty much holding steady where they were on election night. The Liberals as well. This is an Abacus data poll. they're really good. They're very accurate, actually. So, I would guess there's probably a 1.5% margin of error on this. So basically a dead heat, a tie. In that scenario, conservatives actually have a bit of an advantage because their vote is a bit more efficient than the liberals now. The liberals used to have a more efficient vote, but that seems to have gone. So this is good. It means that Pierre Poilievre is not losing his support. Let's not forget that the 41.5% he got in the election was the most that any conservative had gotten in 40 years. So it was actually an impressive figure. It was just the collapse of the NDP and the consolidation of the leftist loony vote in Canada that cost Pierre the election. This wave of data reinforces what we have been observing for much of the fall. The fundamentals of the federal political landscape remain remarkably stable despite some movement around the edges. The Carney government has seen a modest post-budget rebound in approval and leader impressions, but that shift has yet to translate into a wider lead in vote intention. Well, you have government approval here. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing because you can see 48% approval for Carney, 32% disapproval. Yet you see the polling here, it's basically a dead heat. So where will this go? I think Carney's approval and support for the Liberals can only go down as his government continues to, as the consequences of him being the prime minister continue to unravel, because there is no relief coming for Canadians. There's nothing good coming for Canadians. Elbows up has turned into who cares. That is going to affect some voters. It had not huge amounts, not 10%. I mean, Liberal voters, you'd think that attitude is, maybe 1% or 2%, right? We're just going to, most people who vote Liberal are just lifers and they don't care. Mark Carney's promise could be that he's going to bring in refugees and take your house, give it to them, but give you a shovel so that you can dig a hole in the ground in the woods to live in from now on. And they will still, there's like 95% of Liberal voters will still vote for him, right? It's too unfashionable to vote for anybody else. There's another one here, Polling Canada federal model. This is from the 26th. It would have the Liberals at 172, which would give them a majority. CBC 133. I think this is an outlier. You've got Kolosowski Strategies, one of the most accurate pollsters of 2025. And this is from November 26th. Yeah, dead heat again, 44-44. They've only got the NDP at 3% there. So I don't know. I've got a feeling like NDP is they're not at 3%. They're definitely not at 3%. So I would think you could shave off some from both of these, probably more from the Liberal Party, actually. Then you've got just crazy polls like Ecos who you could just ignore. They're nothing. So things are kind of holding steady. This is good for the Conservatives because Liberal support can't go up. It can only go down from here because there will be nothing good actually coming out, right? Nothing that's actually going to affect people's lives. Yes, there can be stories about the memorandum of understanding about a pipeline to Alberta, which is never going to happen, but it's supposed to, make Carney look like a moderate who's getting things done. But at the end of the day, it's how much money do you have, right? Do you still have a job? Are you being asked to wait, 13 years for your next doctor's appointment? Announcements aren't going to change any of that. Announcements from Carney about things that might happen at some point in the future aren't going to change those metrics. And at the end of the day, hopefully enough people will vote on reality. That's my hope. All right, let's go back to the chat for a second. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Rosie says, sorry, I have fallen off my sanity. Too much work. LOL. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, no, that was funny. All right. Let's see. Izzy says, well, you can't vote conservative because that'd make you far right, according to the CBC teleprompters. Rosie says, well, that Rashida woman is revolting. Revolting. Had to join in. She is revolting. She's awful. Who would want to be hectored by that awful creature? Let's see. Radio Streamer says, I just don't trust your election system. I don't care how secure people think they are. I remember having the same discussion with my friend here in 2020 and him saying it looked pretty damn secure. Well, there is... 2020 does not look secure. It was the perfect storm for corruption, 2020, with all the mass mail-in voting, just obviously designed for cheating. Where did those 20 million votes go, by the way? Just a giant spike, then straight back down again in the next election. Weird. Is that just mail-in voting? Really? You got an extra 20 million mail-in votes? Interesting. Cobra, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Especially announcements of understanding. That's Izzy says, especially announcements of understanding. That's little more than a maybe. Yeah, it's years in the future. It's no risk to Carney because it's never going to actually happen. It just makes him look like a moderate that's willing to compromise on energy. Streamer says, I guess my point is if there's a way to cheat and steal, they will, here or any place in the world. That's why, like, for instance, France does all mail-in ballots, not mail-in ballots, all paper ballots. And they managed to get it counted like that night with 70 million people or, so when they have 60 million people, they managed to still count it all that night. Turns out you don't need all these machines. Turns out that's all a load of bull that you need those machines. You don't. You can actually do it, and it's actually secure that way. Let's see. Cobra says, why am I unsubscribed? What? Why am I unsubscribed? On Rumble? That's weird. That's really weird. YouTube, I would say, well, yeah, they just are constantly. I've been going through the last 2 months has just been a wave of people being unsubscribed from my channel. And it's not videos because you go and look on all the, the analytics for videos and it's not showing any videos being responsible. Just for some reason, just people just being unsubscribed from my channel for some reason. Weird. Why am I unsubscribed? Well, I couldn't even unsubscribe anybody anyway, so it definitely wasn't me. And why would I do that anyway? But I don't know. It's weird from Rumble. Now, something wonderful has happened, people. Something absolutely wonderful has happened. And we're going to celebrate it right now. We'll all remember this. We're all going to remember this for a long time. Rosie, being the earth angel that she is, has gifted a subscription, has done the most important thing that anybody can do for this channel if they do want to help. She has gifted a membership. In fact, oh my God, she has just gifted two. She's gifted two. Guess what? Now, as Rosie knows, the best thing anybody can do for this channel is to gift memberships. That way, people can watch like the premium only stream on Rumble tomorrow night. Right? You can only do that if you're a premium member or if you are a member of this channel. And Rosie knows that, and she knows what a great and wonderful thing it is, how special it is to receive that gift, especially with Christmas coming up. That's why Rosie is the best person ever. And I'm talking all of history. All of history. You have your heroes, I know. You've got the people you admire. Guess what? All dog shit compared to Rosie. Rosie is number one. Guess what? Best person ever. What a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. We're going to remember this. We're all going to remember this. But seriously, though, it is awesome. It really does help the channel. And there's 2 new people who can watch the premium stream tomorrow. So thanks, Rosie. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. And who got it? Trudeau Survivor got one, and also Elf Support. What a beautiful thing. Beautiful. What else is going on? All right. So who got them? So let's see. Hold on. So Trudeau Survivor got one. Elf Support got one. And wait a second. Is there more? Is there more? Was Nevada gifted one by Rosie as well? Is that 3? Wait a second. This is crazy. Hold on. So there's 1, 2, and 3. What? We got to go back to the well again. Rosie, that's a 3 from Rosie. 3. A lot of people think that like Einstein was like hot shit or something like that. People like that, or maybe like, I don't know, like some like Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. Galileo or something. They think they're really big time, right? Guess what? Garbage humans compared to Rosie. That's 3. That's 3 gifted memberships. Like 3. I'm in tears right now. I've got tears running down my face. This is such a beautiful moment. I will be telling my grandchildren about this one day. Thank you, Rosie. Holy crap. That's awesome. Beautiful. It really is great, though. It's the best thing ever, and I love it. And also, I'm greedy, too, which is helps. Let's see. What else we got going on? Danny, how you doing? Good to see you, Danny. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone is doing well. We hope you're doing well as well. And what else we got? Let's see. Cobra says they just checked his bank statement. It unsubscribed me and canceled my payment via the 1st of November. For some reason, I have no idea. I hope it's not your bank. Oh God, like, is Rumble getting like debanked now, or banks are refusing to like accept payments? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be at all surprised by that. But yeah, that's not good. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man. Let us know. Like, let us know if you find out more, let us know what's going on. Let's see. JDL, good to see you in the chat. All right. Steve Tolson says, I would never compare Rosie to... No, we're saying that everybody else is by comparison. That's what we mean. I guess that's the same thing. Anyway, she's number 1. Says, hey, maybe we should have some extra chocolate. All right, chocolate for Rosie. Let's just do it. I can't say no, can I? I can't possibly say no. Let's do it. This show's already gone impossibly off the rails. Let's just throw some chocolate up there. Chocolat. As we say on this channel, chocolat. Let's see. Well, look at that. There's some white chocolate. Happy White Day. What's that? March 14th is White Day in Japan. It's 1 month after Valentine's Day, when in Japan, ladies give chocolate to gentlemen. On White Day, gentlemen reciprocate, often with white chocolate. So I'm going to move to Japan. That's it. I'm moving to Japan. That way I can be celebrated on White Day in Japan. Thank God I found out about this. If Rosie had not asked for chocolate, we wouldn't know about this. Moving to Japan. Hello, I'm here for White Day. I'm here for my chocolate, please. Let's see. German chocolate and Greek coffee symbolize the union of flavors, craftsmanship, and hair. Sounds like communism to me. Let's move on from there. What is that? That's like a chocolate brownie thing, some ice cream. All right, that's looking pretty good. What else we got? I don't know about that. What's this? There's just a dog for some reason. I don't know what the hell's going on. Now we're getting like weird manga stuff. Some of it's probably totally inappropriate. That's the scary thing about going on the internet, not knowing what you're going to scroll on. All right, that's chocolate. Let's do chocolate. Let's do chocolate bars. Some of that, like anime manga stuff, apparently is pretty weird with like tentacles and things. So you got to be careful. They're like weird stuff over in Japan, but they do have White Day. So I'm for that. Yes, I'm here for my day, please. I'm here to be celebrated. Let's see. Bullet bar, plain dark chocolate, cannabis infused. That would make me lose my mind. Stay away from that stuff. All right. 75 calorie peanut butter stuffed chocolate bars. All right, that looks pretty good. That's enough. That's enough. Let's go back to there. Oh, all right. We got to get through the chat here. What are we? An hour and 42 in already? Good Lord. Elf Support says, I thought subscriptions were $5 for the channel, but it seems to come with a $10 premium. Well, premium's $10, right? I think. Let's see. But the channel membership is $5, right? But premium, Rumble Premium is $10, I believe. Let's see. Rosie says, thank you for never comparing me to anything nasty. You've just ruined the whole thing. You've ruined, like, Steve has ruined the whole thing now. That's not was my intention. You ruined it. Ruined everything. Let's see. No chocolate unless someone here gets some energy. I'm too tired to look at chocolate. I know. Spambot in the chat? Spambot's not here. Let me go through the chat quickly. I don't think we've seen him. Was he in earlier? I don't think we've got Spambot. So if there's no Spambot, then I think we can probably do it. Let's see. I don't think we've seen Spambot the whole stream, have we? No, he's not here. All right, then. Well, if he's not here, he really hates it. But guess what? I don't know. So who's tired? Radio streamers really, really tired. Well, I don't know. I can say to you, have you tried coffee? Have a couple of coffees? Have you tried smoking crack? Smoking that blue meth? I don't know. Have you tried chomping on some polar bear or adrenal glands? If you've done all of that and it's still not working, you're still not woken up, then I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I could possibly find to.
They them energy. They them energy. They them energy. They them energy.
That ought to do it. That ought to do it. All right. Oh, sure. All right. It would be, let's see, who says it would be fermented? Radio Streamer says there will be fermented chocolate in Greenland when the Radio Baloney chat takes over. Let's see. Radio Streamer says that he's so awake now at Butt's desk. It's that they them energy works every single time. All right, what's going on here? I might save this for tomorrow. I don't know. Let's see. Let's save this one too. I don't know what's going on here. So here in Alberta. So Danielle Smith is the premier of Alberta. I think she's the best premier in the country. And everything she does, the left absolutely freaks out about, starts screaming, and she's far right and blah, 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 blah. Here's something pragmatic and sensible, the sort of thing that modern leftists absolutely hate. Let's hear this from Danielle Smith. Now, this is touching on healthcare in Alberta. And so leftists are terrified there's any kind of talk about anything, any kind of freedom regarding healthcare in Canada. Let's take a look at what Danielle Smith is saying.
By empowering Albertans to access private diagnostic testing and screening services as they so choose. No longer will Albertans require a doctor to give them permission to access private preventative tests or screening. We want you, yes, we want you and your employers to invest directly in your own preventative health. And if that testing turns up a serious condition that needs treatment, the government will reimburse you for that cost because it likely means that your needed treatment will be less complicated and less costly for taxpayers because it was caught early. And obviously, all referrals from your doctor for testing and screening will remain fully paid for by your Alberta Health Insurance. And as I'm sure many of you heard this past week, under the excellent leadership of the Minister of Hospital and Surgical Services, Matt Jones, our government has introduced dual practice legislation that permits doctors to provide private elective surgeries, such as hip and knee and eye surgeries, after regular business hours and on weekends, so long as they continue to provide their regular amount of public surgeries as well. Yeah. This dual practice arrangement for doctors has worked to reduce wait lists and attract surgeons and health investment in virtually every high-performing health system in the world. And of course, as previously announced, we will be moving from a wasteful and inefficient block funding model for our public hospitals, managed by bureaucrats, into a more competitive and responsive activity-based funding model that pays public hospitals and private surgical centers for the services they actually provide.
So this is the kind of pragmatism and realism that obviously every left-wing party in Canada is going to hate and howl about, and it's far right and blah, blah, blah. So it's just, there are big lineups in public healthcare in Canada now, right? For a lot of stuff. And obviously getting people out of that lineup so they can just pay for it themselves makes sense. It's good for them because then they don't have to wait. They can, if there is something wrong, they can get it treated earlier, less complications, as Danielle Smith says there. It's also good for the people who are using the public system because there's less people in front of them. They can get it done earlier, and then they will have a better chance of recovery and less complicated treatment if it's caught earlier. Right? This is just common sense. It's good for everybody. And the left will screech and howl about this because their entire ideology is just based on envy and resentment. Well, why should that person be able to get a test faster? Even if it would mean that they themselves would get better treatment, faster treatment in a system less burdened, which is overburdened across the board right now, even then the resentment is too strong. So, of course, they're going to howl and scream about something perfectly reasonable, perfectly pragmatic, and just realistic. So, this is why I say, though, that Danielle Smith is the best premier in Canada. She keeps coming up with this pragmatic, realistic stuff, and she's not apologetic about it, and she's forthright, and we need more of her. Just more Canadians generally to be more like her. Let's see. Hold on. So CBC Watcher.
By empowering Albertans to access.
Let's see. So Sheldon Yakochuk says, this was a great announcement. Now the hypochondriacs can line up and test until they're satisfied without bogging down the healthcare system that's crumbling under the weight of their neuroses. Well, look, yes, certainly people who are just whenever anything is free, not really free, it's actually very expensive, but whenever people see something is free or they're not, maybe they're not really paying taxes, they're not contributing, they're going to overuse it. They're going to take advantage of it. They're going to be in there every 5 seconds if they can be, right? But it's also, too, just mass immigration. The mass immigration has is really become a problem, and that's really burdening and crushing our healthcare system. They've just got to do it on their own dime. This should save taxpayers and the system the burden while still allowing the lunatics to fill their boots with as many tests as they can Google. Yes, there's no downside to this. Of course, the left will find a downside, right? An unrealistic, ridiculous one. All right. Let's move on. I think there is some stuff which I think we're going to just save for tomorrow. Maybe I'll do this one. British police arrest man for posting picture of himself shooting gun while on holiday in America. The police are out of control. Quote, I was told to be careful what I say online, and I need to understand how it makes people feel. How it makes people feel. So him posting a picture of him doing something perfectly legal in the United States might make people feel bad in the UK. John Booth was arrested and held in a cell overnight. Jeez. IT consultant arrested after posing with gun on LinkedIn. He was put through 13 weeks of hell after returning from U.S. holiday. They really don't want the British people getting the idea into their head that they might be able to defend themselves. Terrifying. He took the picture while on holiday in Florida, USA. An IT consultant was arrested by police in Britain after he posted a picture online of himself posing with a gun in the U.S. Let's see if we can just find an article on this. Hold on a second. Let's do it. Fact check. Let's see if we can find that article. Here we go. Wow. Hold on. This is not the best web page, but all right. Let's see if we can actually. Nope. Okay. So, UK police arrest a man for posing with a gun in US. Elon Musk is furious. A British IT consultant was arrested after posting a photograph of himself holding a gun during a holiday in the United States, a case that later drew sharp criticism from Elon Musk. Jean Richelieu Booth, 50, from West Yorkshire, said he was pardon me. Said he was shocked after police visited and later detained him over the image, which he says was taken legally on private property in Florida. Airstrip one, anybody? Wow, this is beyond lunacy. Again, they really don't want people getting the idea that they can defend themselves in the UK. To even just think about it, actually. He posted the photo on LinkedIn on 13th August as part of a longer message about his stay and work activities. He said West Yorkshire police later visited his home, advising him to be careful about what he posted online after concerns were raised about the image. He said officers did not ask to see proof that the photograph was taken in the US. Just amazing. Apparently there's a big exodus of like the English leaving England now, and it's stuff like this. Hold on. There we go. On 24th of August, officers returned to his home at around 10 p.m. and arrested him. A bail document referred to allegations of possessing a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. He didn't even do this in the UK, as well as a separate allegation of stalking linked to a photograph of a house on his social media. He was held overnight before being interviewed. Amazing. Amazing. This is dystopia. This is what dystopia looks like. The firearms and stalking allegations were later dropped. Said police attended his property 3 more times before he was rearrested in October for allegedly breaching bail conditions, although that charge was also abandoned. This is just a government intimidating its own people. He was then charged with a public order offense. Relating to a different social media post. The case was discontinued by the Crown Prosecution Service ahead of his scheduled hearing at Bradford Magistrates Court on 25th November. Richelieu Booth said the investigation left him unable to work as his phone and computers were seized by police. The incident drew international attention after Elon Musk commented on the case online. This is just unbelievable. This is unbelievably dystopian, is it not? Unbelievably dystopian. Hold on. Yeah, it's just, how did this, I mean, it was a great country, the UK, the sun never set on the British Empire at one point. How has it fallen so low? So low. What's it like living in the UK? I can't complain. That's good. No, I mean, I can't complain. I might go to jail. I guess that's a good place to leave it, huh? All right. Steve says, the more people that leave England, the less people that will be left to fight, but already maybe too late, so I can't blame anybody social. Yeah. True to Survivor says, the cops in UK must be heavily brainwashed to go along with it. UK Ultra, yeah. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, Cobra told me to say goodnight to everyone. He is trying to work out why he was unsubbed. He is going to try and fix it. Yeah, that's weird. That's very strange. I think I heard somebody else as well. I hope it's not like a banking thing where they're like not going to, cooperate with Rumble. I hope not. All right. So my favorite season is People versus Winter. Let's check this out. This is going to be good. Oh, dear.
Crazy amounts of snow. Okay, we're ready.
Oh,
holy mackerel!
I mean, that's heavy, by the way. Like that would actually hurt.
Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me?
Fuck, man, it's freezing. Get inside. Dude, cold is only a state of mind. Walk in.
Oh. I have to shovel the driveway about twice a year, twice every winter, and I hate it. All right. Oh, this one. All right. You guys got to watch this to the end. Here we go. Wrong calculations. I think you can guess what's going to happen here.
va se rebâtir. Ça bouge. Shit. Le pire qui arrivait.
Oh, shit is right. Oh, shit is right. Oh, man. What's this? 1 minute, 46 seconds well spent. By the way, the ladies in the stream last night, on Friday night, made me pull out we don't pull that out often, but the For the Ladies bookmark. So it has all the beefcake from the 80s because they're demanding some satisfaction themselves. I got that copyright for Magnum PI. And it's all 80s, like Magnum and Chuck Norris, because I just think it's funny. But I got copyrighted for Magnum, so he had to go. But we still got the Fonz. I think the Fonz is okay. Let's see. All right. What's going on here? Let's take a look.
Bro, I swear to God, this...
Stefan!
All right, that'll get me copyright. The Pink Panther music for sure. All right. This one I'm not going to show you because that's going to be it's horrible. Spambot sends us some pretty horrible clips, actually. I don't even know if I'll show that one. JD Vance was right about Europe. JD Vance flew to Europe, walked into Munich, and told European leaders to their face that they are communists, and then flew home. Vance is gangster. It's the way to do it. If you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. All right. Let's see if I can do one more ad read. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do one more. Let's see. What do we got? Let's do the crypto.com. Let's go for it. Let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. And this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi, staking rewards, and real-world perks like cashback on your spends to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to crypto.com. That's crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. That felt good. Felt real good. Real good. That's how you read an ad. And you give it that little bit of the British accent, kind of weird British accent, and it gives it that little bit of extra authority that the people love. That's why I do it. I do everything for you people. Everything I do is for you. Every accent is for you. I don't do it for myself. I do it for you. I bring you the beautiful ads, the ads everybody's clamoring for. Let's see what's going on. JDL just posted a gun emoji. Hope I don't go to jail for this. Well, I think it's a water gun. So I think you're safe to go to the UK. Maybe. Probably not, actually. Probably not. Let's see. Ottawa James says, crazy kittens. Crazy kittens. Well, that's why I show you guys that stuff. Because it's beautiful. Trudeau Survivor says, did the copyright owners of Magnum PI file a copyright strike? How would they even know? I don't know. I think on YouTube, just like random people just like will just pretend to be copyright owners of like a bunch of stuff. And then the system is so broken that it's, that it just creates a big hassle for everybody. Radio Streamer says, I have repaired machines for arborists for years, and I know better than that than to crush a house by taking a tree down. Some things are worth paying professionals for. Rosie says, tree fools. I know people killed doing this. One was a professional. A tiny twig pierced his temple. Not a game. Not a game. That is horrific, Rosie. But, I was watching like some video. Like for some reason, there's a guy who's just gone into my homepage feed, and he does videos about how not to kill yourself while felling trees. So apparently, it really when you think about it too, yeah, obviously it's extremely dangerous. So I don't know. JJ Nevada says, "How you doing, JJ? So glad I moved to the desert." He says after watching the winter video. Let's see. All right, I'm going to skip to the end here. Izzy says, we need to make Canada great again before I can invest in crypto. We're working on it. Radio Streamer says, Gandalf's European cousin reading an ad again. 9.0 out of 10. It needs a more commie hate. I can't put the commie hate in that one. You guys know that. I've told you that. I'm not allowed to. But still, 9 out of 10, I still believe is the most out of 10 that you can get. So thank you for that, sir. All right. I think we're going to call it a night with that. Maybe there's one more. Hold on. Maybe there's like one more little thing. We'll end it off with this. This is nice, right? Tommy Robinson posted this. Absolutely beautiful scenes out of Texas as Sky Elements Drones use 5,000 drones for their Christmas drone show depicting the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I don't think you need to be religious to enjoy this. I mean, that is pretty remarkable, isn't it? Wow, that is so super cool. Like what they can do now with these things, it's really impressive. Wow. That's cool. Let's end it off with that. All right. Actually, before we go, I want to check out one more thing. Let's just see if there's any kind of updates here on the live now.
Government. President Trump recently warning aircraft to stay out of Venezuelan airspace. And just before that, he had implied that strikes on land could be imminent. So, Will, is it possible that President Trump is eyeballing some sort of action in Venezuela as soon as this week?
I think it is possible. I mean, they certainly have not done anything to sort of downplay expectations that there could be some sort of action on land. The timeline is certainly murkier. And in this case, the threat of action, could potentially be even more effective than taking actual action, because what the president always says is, he's asked about this publicly. He's like, well, I'm not going to tell you, right? I mean, these are military actions. The last thing we want to do is sort of give Venezuela, the heads up that this is coming. But that certainly is a possibility. While they haven't sort of discussed the details of what we might see militarily, they also have not downplayed the idea at all that we could see sort of land strikes. And the other interesting thing that happened today is there is intensifying pressure on Capitol Hill, among lawmakers from both parties to see a little bit more transparency around Venezuela, and specifically on the strikes in the ocean that they targeted different vessels. Lawmakers from both parties are saying, look, we need more information. We haven't gotten enough from the White House on this. There were.
So I mean, there's not going to be like some full-scale invasion of Venezuela. Maybe there's a coup attempt cooking up or something, and they would support in that possibly. But I mean, MAGA's not going to like, MAGA's not going to like really anything happening there, right? But I think they could handle just like like closing down the airspace or something while there was like a coup going on, maybe something like that. Still wouldn't be wild about it, but yeah, who knows? I mean, I think Trump has been known to bluff before, right? To use that kind of power as leverage. That, I mean, the real power that does exist, right? That he does actually wield. All right. Rosie says, if you arrive before 9:10 for the premium stream tomorrow, I will be gifting 2 more subs so you can join in the premium stream. Well, it's 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time is when it starts. But that is awesome. Thank you, Rosie. I can feel there's some more best persons ever things coming. Let's see. I think we're going to have a long one tomorrow night as well. Fairly short tonight, but I like to start off the month with a long premium stream because that way I can get through a lot of the hours that I have to do for the creator program, like right off the bat. It kind of takes the pressure off later. Trudeau Survivor says women can vote in Venezuela where it all began to go wrong. Just saying, he says. Well, I'm not saying anything about that. I know what James says. Voting in Venezuela is rigged. Yeah, it tends to be, doesn't it, in commie hellholes. Elf Support says, Venezuela manufactures those vote machines that USA has bought where the results can be shifted to their desire. They track the dissidents voting too. Yeah, it seems extremely plausible that the elections that the far leftist, socialist strongman would be rigging the elections. Let's see. You missed my ad review. What? I don't think I did I? Where is it? Where is it? I'm looking. I don't see. I'm looking. I don't know. Maybe it's too far gone now. I think it's too far away now. I'm sorry. All right, let's get to the last little bit here. Steve says, give them hell, Trump, keep them guessing, and they will come to the negotiating table. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen there, right? I like some full-scale invasion. That's not going to happen. Rosie says, I think Dominion and CIA practiced on Venezuela. Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who showed up tonight, especially you guys in the chat, especially Rosie for gifting those memberships. That's awesome. Best thing anybody can do to help the channel. Thanks, you guys, for keeping me company. It would be pretty depressing if you guys weren't here, I got to say. So if you guys keep showing up, I will keep showing up as well. One last word for those watching on YouTube. Please subscribe to the new channel on YouTube, Radio Baloney News. I split the channel up. All the world stuff, U.S. news, meme reviews, all that stuff is on Radio Baloney News now. It's the featured channel on this channel on the homepage. Please subscribe. Make the gatekeepers cry. Otherwise, everybody, I will see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, premium stream. What is going to happen next with Tales of the Gold Monkey? You'll have to tune in to find out. Will they find the gold monkey? I don't know. We're getting pretty close. And what are those Nazis up to in it as well? I don't know. It's 1938 and there's Nazis running around. Crazy stuff. And then all kinds of stuff. And then stuff that we can't do on a normal stream for obvious reasons. So I hope to see everybody there tomorrow night. And everybody have a great start to your week because it's Sunday, right? And tomorrow's Monday. Have a great start to your week. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.